guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay. Today we're going to be talking about what I read this summer. So I only read a total of 5 books, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's kind of a lot for me. I think I was in like a reading slump, and I'll tell you which book that got me out of that. So the first book that I read this summer was The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. Let me tell you, this book, I loved it so much. Oh my gosh. So I heard about this book because it was originally, I think, a Hermione fan fiction, which if you don't know what that is, it's Draco and Hermione from Harry Potter. And then it was now being published as a book. So that's what first got me interested in this. And there's another book that came out that I did get that was also another Hermione fan fiction originally, but I haven't read that yet. But I read this because people said this was the more like funny, witty book versus the other one, which is a little darker. So I read this and oh my gosh, I gave it 5 stars and it was so good. I could not stop reading it. I'll read a little synopsis from the book. Loyalties are tested in this slow burn enemies to lovers romantasy following an assassin and a healer forced to work together to cure a fatal disease while resisting the urge to kill each other, or worse, fall in love. Oh, it was so good. So I am not a huge, well, before this book, I was not a huge fantasy person, and I have read I've read fantasies like Twilight and other books like that, but it's not, I don't know if it sometimes, like, I think I kind of steered away from it because the world building would get confusing to me. So that's why I kind of stayed away from it, because a lot of like the fantasy books that I've picked up were more for me more difficult to like comprehend if there were like a lot of cities and a lot of towns and a lot of characters and with weird names and stuff like that. This one was definitely easier to understand and follow. Also, anytime a book has a map, you know it's gonna be good. So I highly recommend this book. Again, it got me out of my reading slump, and then after I read this, I was literally on the hunt for like anything that was similar, that was like romantasy but wasn't too deep in fantasy, I guess. I don't know how you describe that. This also has a second book, so that's not out yet and I have no idea when that's coming out, but I hope it comes out soon because this was so good. I've mentioned this before in some of my videos that I use this app called Bookly, and it's honestly my favorite thing ever. I originally downloaded it because my goal like years ago was just to read 10 minutes each day. I found this app and now I don't even, that's not even my goal anymore because I pretty much read every day if I can. But I love it because I'll show a screenshot of like the stats on this book that I read. It breaks down like how fast you're reading, how long it will take you to finish the book if you keep reading at this pace. It lets you record like quotes that you love. Like I said, I gave this book 5 stars and it took me a total of 10 hours and 35 minutes to read. So that was my first book. I again highly recommend this book, and if you have any books that are similar to this, then definitely comment them down below because I'm interested now. So the second book that I read this summer was My Demon Hunter. And again, like I said, I was on like a romantasy kick after reading The Irresistible Urge. So I was trying to find any book that was similar. So I actually went to Target looking for Accomplice to the Villain, which is on my TBR right now, because people were saying that that was kind of similar vibes. But that wasn't there at the time, and I really was like, I need to read another romantasy book. So I just happened to find this and I read the back and I was like, okay. So I bought it and I was instantly hooked. This book is so good. So actually it is the second book in the Hellbent series. I didn't realize that until I bought it already, but I googled it before I read just to make sure like I could read this without reading the first one, and it said you pretty much could. So any like backstory that was mentioned in this book, it kind of it wasn't confusing to read. I just kind of glossed over it and be like, I know I'll find out more when I read the first book. But it definitely, like, I could read this as a standalone, but if you read the first one before this, you get more of the story and the world and everything. This is kind of what hooked me because I read the back of it a little bit. I didn't want to read the whole thing. I didn't want to spoil anything, but this is the part that kind of got me and I'm like, interesting. So it said Lily Donovan thought the most dangerous thing about running to the corner store at night would be the aisles of junk food. She didn't bargain on encountering chaos in the form of a man with unusual tattoos and beguiling amber eyes. So that's what got me hooked. And plus just the cover and like the stenciled edges. Again, I highly recommend this book too. I was obsessed with this book so much. So I gave my Demon Hunter 4.5 stars. I loved it, but again, like I was kind of comparing it to The Irresistible Urge, and I'm like, it's not quite a 5-star, but it was definitely worth reading. And then that book took me 8 hours and 38 minutes to read. The third book I read this summer was My Funny Demon Valentine, which is the first book in the Hellbent series. So again, I had to read this after loving my Demon Hunter. It made the stuff in my Demon Hunter, like it kind of gave you more of a backstory of to what happened before and how they got to the point where they were in my Demon Hunter. This is the same, has stenciled edges, and the cover is the same. And I did get the third book in this series, so I want to take a little break from the Hellbent series, so I am kind of holding off on that one right now. But this one, I'm going to say, I did love it, but I didn't love it as much as my Demon Hunter. It was still really good, so I'll read like a little blurb from this. Also, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this. Asmodeus, Prince of Hell, just wants to make music, jazz specifically. Unfortunately, he's a demon and he's supposed to be evil. Evangeline Gregory is just your average human. She works at a jazz bar, plays gigs on weekends, and apparently hallucinates demons. These books are so good. I can't wait to read the third one. Honestly, I'm so happy I found this series, and more people need to be talking about it. So I gave My Funny Demon Valentine 4 stars, and it took me 8 hours and 5 minutes to read. So the fourth book I read this summer was called The Witches of Anderson House, and I will show the cover here. I don't have the physical copy. I read it as an ebook, and it was actually my first arc from NetGalley. And if you don't know, NetGalley is a website where readers can review books and like request arcs of books, which are advanced reader copies. So that before the book is actually published, and you can write reviews. And pretty much the more reviews you write, the more likely you are to get an arc that you requested. So that was my first arc on NetGalley, which was so exciting. So The Witches of Anderson House is actually, I think it'd be like a middle school grade book. It was definitely like shorter, and reading it as an adult, it was still really good. It was about this retirement home for witches, and the artwork was so beautiful. And it was so cute, and they were helping this little boy in town find his guinea pig that went missing. It was so cute though. I loved it. So yes, that was my first arc, and I thought it was really good. I gave it 4 stars, and it only took me 27 minutes to read, pretty much because one, it was like for younger kids, and also it had a lot of pictures in it, so it went by pretty quick. The fifth and final book that I read this summer was Beautiful Creatures. This book has been on my TBR for probably like 10 years, I'd say. Probably almost 10 years. I didn't see the movie until I think a few years after it already came out, which I'm sad I didn't see it in theaters because honestly it's one of my favorite movies. So I was obsessed with the movie, and that's when I got the book, and I think I had just rewatched the movie so many times that I couldn't get started with the book. I kind of took like a break, but then I never went back to it, unfortunately. But then one day over the summer I watched Beautiful Creatures, and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot how much I love this movie. And I'm like, I'm only gonna watch it once, and then maybe I can read the book. So I was happy. I was a little scared that it was gonna put me into a reading slump, just because 1, it's huge, 2, like I already started a few times and was just scared that like I wouldn't be able to finish it. But I did finish it, and it was really good. It definitely, like when I first finished it, I had to kind of think about if I really loved specifically the ending, because I did really enjoy the book, but I kind of had to like think about the ending really, because there were a lot of differences from the book versus the movie and vice versa. Some differences I liked and some differences I didn't like. Like some things I liked in the movie that I didn't like in the book, or some things I liked in the movie that I didn't like in the book. But I thought the book was going to end on the cliffhanger. If you've seen the movie, you know the movie ends on a cliffhanger. And unfortunately, they only have the one movie. Oh, I wish I had more because I would have ate that up. So the movie ends on a cliffhanger. So that's what I thought the book was gonna end on a cliffhanger. And I'm not spoiling anything, but it's not like a huge cliffhanger. Like, I did get the second book in the series, but it's not like I had to read it right away to find out what happens next. I did love the book, and if you don't know anything about Beautiful Creatures, I will see if I can read a little blurb. Lena Duquesne is unlike anyone the small southern town of Gatlin has ever seen, and she's struggling to conceal her power and a curse that has haunted her family for generations. But even within the overgrown gardens, murky swamps, and crumbling graveyards of the Forgotten South, a secret cannot stay hidden. Ethan Waite, who has been counting the months until he can escape from Gatlin, is haunted by dreams of a beautiful girl he has never met. When Lena moves into the town's oldest and most infamous plantation, Ethan is inexplicably drawn to her and determined to uncover the connection between them. In a town with no surprises, one secret could change everything. So, yes, so I'm glad I read this again because it was, I was kind of still on the fantasy kick, and wanted something that wasn't too, like, since I had seen the movie, I knew what the fantasy was, and it wasn't like crazy world building and stuff that I would get confused by. So I had a good feeling that I wouldn't get confused by this book, and I didn't. I gave Beautiful Creatures 4 stars, and it took me 12 hours and 9 minutes in total to read. In days, it took me like a little over a week, which is actually shocking because this book is probably one of the biggest books I've read in a long time. So yeah, those are the 5 books that I read this summer. Comment down below what you read this summer, and if you've read any of the books I've mentioned in this book series or have any recommendations for me. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye!